Hello, history enthusiasts and seekers of truth. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're embarking on a fascinating exploration, tracing the lives of Jesus' siblings and delving into the genesis of the belief that Mary ascended to heaven alive. This journey is sure to be filled with intrigue and revelation. If you're as excited as we are, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more enriching content. Ready to dive into the annals of history? Then stay tuned. Let's start with a common question. Did Jesus have brothers and sisters? This inquiry has sparked countless discussions, debates, and stories throughout history. These narratives span across cultures and generations, each adding a unique twist to the family portrait of Jesus. Renowned stories often speak of Jesus' siblings, painting vivid pictures of a bustling household. Various tales tell of James, Joses, Simon, and Judas as Jesus' brothers, and even mention unnamed sisters. Some narratives go as far as to describe their personalities, their roles in Jesus' life, or their reactions to his ministry. On the other hand, the Bible paints a slightly different picture. It does mention Jesus' brothers and sisters in several passages, but the nature of these relationships is less clear. The Greek term adelphoi, used to refer to these siblings, can mean brothers in a literal sense, but can also mean close relatives or fellow believers. This linguistic ambiguity has led to diverse interpretations. Some scholars argue that these siblings were indeed Mary and Joseph's biological children, making them Jesus' literal brothers and sisters. Others, particularly within the Catholic tradition, believe that these were Jesus' step-siblings from Joseph's previous marriage or close relatives like cousins. Now let's address another popular story, the belief that Mary, Jesus' mother, ascended to heaven while still alive. This story, known as the Assumption of Mary, is deeply embedded in Catholic tradition and often depicted in awe-inspiring art. However, the Bible remains silent on Mary's departure from this world. The Assumption is based on apocryphal texts and the long-standing tradition of the Church, rather than explicit biblical evidence. As we can see, popular stories and biblical facts sometimes converge and sometimes diverge. It's a fascinating dance between historical interpretation, cultural narratives, and religious texts. The key is to approach these stories with an open mind and a critical eye, acknowledging the rich tapestry they add to our understanding of religious history, while also discerning where they align or contrast with biblical accounts. Now, let's turn our attention to another fascinating subject: Mary's Assumption. This belief, deeply rooted in Catholicism, tells the tale of Mary, the mother of Jesus, being taken up into heaven, body and soul. While it's a widely held belief among Catholics, it's worth noting that it isn't universally accepted among all Christian denominations. The concept of Mary's Assumption finds its roots not in the Bible, but in the apocryphal texts, specifically the Transitus Mariae, which dates back to the 4th century. These texts, while not part of the canonical scripture, were widely read and influential in shaping early Christian beliefs. In these narratives, Mary's death is described as a dormition, a term that means falling asleep in Greek. It's depicted that after her dormition, she was assumed into heaven, both body and soul. This belief was so widely accepted among early Christians that it influenced the Church's teachings and became a cornerstone of Catholic doctrine. But why isn't this belief universally accepted among Christians? Well, many Christian denominations, such as Protestantism, believe in sola scriptura, a doctrine that holds the Bible as the sole authority on matters of faith and practice. Since the Bible doesn't explicitly mention Mary's Assumption, these denominations do not accept it as a factual event. The Catholic Church, on the other hand, believes in the sacred tradition, which holds that God's revelation to mankind is not confined to the Bible alone. It also encompasses the teachings and practices handed down through the centuries from the apostles and their successors. It was in this spirit that in 1950, Pope Pius XII formally declared Mary's Assumption as a dogma or an official teaching of the Catholic Church. The belief in Mary's Assumption, like many religious beliefs, has its roots in a complex mix of scripture, tradition, and interpretation. It's a testament to the diverse ways in which faith is understood and practiced. Regardless of whether one accepts or rejects this belief, it offers a fascinating glimpse into the rich tapestry of religious thought and tradition. Now, let's delve into some popular stories that, interestingly, lack any biblical basis. One such tale is the Assumption of Mary, a belief held by many Christians, particularly Catholics, that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was assumed body and soul into heavenly glory. However, there's no biblical passage that directly supports this idea. This belief became widely accepted due to the influence of church tradition and was ultimately declared a dogma by the Catholic Church in the mid-20th century. Next, consider the story of the siblings of Jesus. Many people believe that Jesus had brothers and sisters, yet the Bible only refers to them as brothers, which in the first century Jewish context could also mean close relatives or cousins. The Catholic and Orthodox traditions interpret these brothers as Jesus' cousins, maintaining the belief in Mary's perpetual virginity. Then there's the popular image of the three wise men visiting baby Jesus in the manger. While the Bible does mention Magi visiting Jesus, it never specifies the number 3, nor does it say they visited him in a manger. The number 3 likely came from the 3 gifts they brought: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Also, the notion of the apple as the forbidden fruit eaten by Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is another story without biblical roots. The Bible merely refers to it as the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden. The association with an apple is thought to be the result of a pun in Latin, where malum can mean both apple and evil. Finally, the belief that angels have wings, while popular in art and literature, is not explicitly stated in the Bible. The biblical depiction of angels varies, and many descriptions don't include wings at all. These stories, while not based in biblical fact, often serve important cultural or moral functions. So what can we learn from all this? The answer, my friends, lies in the heart of 2 key concepts: context and critical thinking. Understanding the context of religious texts and beliefs is paramount. Why, you may ask? Well, let's imagine we're reading a book. Without knowing the setting, the time, the characters, and their motivations, the story would be a jumbled mess, wouldn't it? The same applies to religious texts. They were written in a different era, a different culture, with different societal norms and values that may be alien to us. To grasp the full meaning of these texts, we need to understand the context in which they were written. But context alone is not enough. We need to apply critical thinking as well. Critical thinking is the process of analyzing and evaluating information to reach an understanding or conclusion. It's not about doubting or denying faith, but rather about questioning, exploring, and seeking truth. After all, isn't the pursuit of truth one of the fundamental aspects of faith? This becomes especially important when we come across popular stories that might not have a solid basis in religious texts. For instance, the idea that Mary ascended to heaven in life, or the tales about the siblings of Jesus. These stories, while fascinating, might not be supported by biblical evidence. They might have been born out of cultural traditions, interpretations, or even misunderstandings. So, the next time we encounter such stories, let's not accept them at face value. Let's delve deeper. Let's question, research, and engage in thoughtful discussions. Let's remember that religious beliefs and interpretations vary widely across different cultures and societies. What might be a deeply held belief in one culture might be unheard of in another. In conclusion, context and critical thinking are invaluable tools in our quest to understand religious texts and beliefs. They help us separate fact from fiction, enrich our understanding, and deepen our faith. As we've seen, the line between fact and fiction can sometimes blur in the realm of religious history. As we wrap up our exploration, let's reflect on the journey we've taken. We've delved into the fascinating topic of Jesus' siblings and the origins of the Catholic belief that Mary ascended to heaven in life, a tale that has been passed down through generations. We've also unraveled some popular stories that, while captivating, lack biblical substantiation. The importance of studying history and questioning popular narratives cannot be overstated. History is a treasure trove of knowledge that helps us understand our past, our present, and potentially our future. It's crucial to approach it with a critical mind, discerning fact from fiction and resisting the allure of accepting stories at face value. We've learned that not all tales we hear, even those that have become deeply embedded in our culture, have their roots in biblical facts. These narratives often emerge from a mixture of historical accounts, cultural beliefs, and human imagination. They serve as a reminder that we should always be inquisitive, scrutinizing the sources of our information and challenging our preconceived notions. By doing so, we become more enlightened individuals, capable of navigating the world with a broader perspective and a deeper understanding. So let's continue to question, learn, and grow, unearthing the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface of our collective knowledge. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, always keep your mind open and your curiosity alive. Don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing content. Until next time.